Okay, so this episode of The Walking Dead is entitled Crossed. And so this is kind of uh, the most chaotic episode to follow, but I mean it has to be because it's the big setup for the mid-season finale, which is next week. So I'll do the minuscule parts of the episode and then get to the bigger parts. So first off, Rick, Daryl, Tyrese and Sasha all plan, and then also Noah, forgot about him, are all planning on rescuing Beth and Carol from the hospital. So when they go off, they leave behind Michonne, Carl, Judith, and Father Gabriel. And so Carl and Michonne both try to teach Father Gabriel, he's got to defend himself, and he eventually agrees to take a machete, and they both try to help him. Carl being a little more direct, Michonne just saying she just wants to help him, and then basically what Father Gabriel does is you find out that he's using the machete to dig his way out of the church because the church is completely barricaded after Rick and the group leave. So he goes out and he leaves. He's running through the forest and he encounters a walker, and he's overcome at first. He throws this walker, whom is a woman, throws her down. She gets impaled through the stomach, and he's about to crush her head with a rock when he sees that she has a cross. So he decides to leave her. So he hasn't completely abandoned his Christian lifestyle yet. And that's literally basically all that happens with that part. The other part that's really minuscule is everything with Beth. So Beth sees that is visiting Carol in the very beginning of the episode and seeing how she is, and then she overhears Dawn and one of the other police officers arguing over that keeping Carol alive is a waste of resources. So Beth argues with them, and Dawn says to take Carol off all the medication and the life support. Says if she pulls through, she pulls through. But then secretly, she tells Beth that, oh, you killed that woman. But then she finally sees Beth as strong and not weak. So she's like, here's my key to the drug cabinet. Go give her whatever drugs she needs. So she finds out what drugs she needs from the doctor, and then she manages to get epinephrine from the drug cabinet. She gives it to Carol in the hopes of trying to wake Carol up. And that's basically all that happens there. So now I'll do what seems like it took up the bulk of the episode is, which is the group Greatum, which is what Tara gives the name of her group with Abraham and Glenn and all them. And so they're trying to figure out what they're going to do because the walkers aren't moving from where they were going, but Abraham refuses to move, and Eugene is in no shape to move. So first Rosita tries to give Abraham water, and he just knocks the water away from her, and she said, and then she starts yelling at him, and he gets up as if he's going to attack her, and Maggie points the gun at his face and tells him to sit down, and after a couple seconds he does. So after some debating, because they're getting low on water, Glenn, Rosita, and Tara go off to go get water, and when leaving Maggie behind to look after Eugene and Abraham. So they the three go off, and they find a stream in which they use the clothes of some dead walkers nearby to dilute the water so it's not filthy, and then they use other parts of it to try to catch some fish. And so then Glenn convinces Rosita to stick with them in case for wherever they go next. And so yeah, they catch the fish, and then they go back, and then while they were gone, Maggie tries 2 attempts to get through to Abraham. But while she's building shade for Eugene because he's still unconscious on the ground, she yells at him, telling him to get over himself. He's not the only person that's lost anything. And then secondly, she goes over and, feeling almost remorse for him, she gives him a water bottle, and she says, "Did you want me to shoot you?" And he goes, "I thought I did, but then now I don't think I do." And so then Eugene she goes over to check on him, and Abraham slowly starts to reach for the water, meaning maybe he's coming out of his daze. And so that's that part of the episode. The last part to deal with is Rick and them. So once they get into Atlanta, Rick proposes that they sneak into the hospital and they slowly basically kill all the guards, whereas Tyrese and Daryl say they should, take 2 guards hostage, two cops hostage, and then use them to barter. Um, so, crap, what is it? They convince him of that, and so they use Noah as a distraction because they're still looking for Noah, and 2 cops show up, and he try to grab Noah, where then Rick and them show up and they capture him, but then there's a 3rd cop who had just been behind and say, so they go after him and they attack, and yeah, it was interesting. And so then they managed to capture all 3 guards after a little bit, and so during this whole thing, Sasha's having difficulty recovering from Bob. And so, I think, so Tyrese tries to help her, and he says that no, because she thought that she wasn't strong and wasn't, honoring his memory by not killing him, having Tyrese do it. But Tyrese said, no, you did honor him by admitting help, which is what Bob always wanted. So, basically, one of the sergeants, who also happens to be named Bob, which Sasha kind of sees as like, oh, I need to help him. He says, oh, you're gonna have to barter with Dawn. You don't want to try to kill us because, you don't want us to go in because Dawn, she'll compromise. And so then after everybody's going, he says that, tells a story about how one of his best friends was on the force and how he was sent to go take survivors, to an evac point, and then I guess that's when Atlanta was carpet bombed, and he's basically just a walker melted on the sidewalk, which is one of the most visually cool things that they did, which is these walkers that are melted onto the blacktop. And so then he convinces Sasha to take him over there so he can, so that she can put an end to him for misery. And he knocks her in the back of her head before running off, to do something. So Sasha's not unconscious on the floor. That's literally leading up to next week's episode, where I guess Rick tries to barter a truce, and there's a bunch of other things happening. So, yeah. I mean, again, there's not that much to talk about. I mean, now the season's really starting to pick up. So I think the next episode's going to be really big. I hope it's big like how all the mid-season finales have been. So, yeah. Talk to you guys later.